In Paris Air Show 2023, Lockheed Martin officially announced that the company supports the Adaptive Engine Transition Program for the F-35 fighter jet, which is the next-generation engine, and this announcement drew a forceful rebuke from Pratt Whitney, the incumbent engine provider. In an email to Defense News, Lockheed Martin said an AETP engine would provide greater power and cooling capabilities that would carry the F-35 beyond upcoming Block 4 upgrades. Block 4 is expected to give the F-35 new sensors, the ability to carry more weapons and advanced electronic warfare capabilities, among other upgrades. The F-35 is expected to fly until 2070. It will include future upgrades. Let's put as much margin in the airplane as we can today, such that in the future, I don't have to put another motor in. I don't have to bring new power and thermal management cooling into the airplane, said Greg Ulmer, Lockheed's Executive Vice President of Aeronautics. Technically, an adaptive engine brings further improvements beyond power and cooling increases, such as greater thrust and fuel efficiency. The advocacy of the jet's prime contractor on behalf of AETP is beneficial to GE Aerospace, which has been pushing for an adaptive engine option, and is conversely a blow to incumbent engine manufacturer Pratt Whitney, which is seeking to continue its lock on powering the trivariant fleet. Both engine manufacturers have designed prototypes through AETP, which would be expected to compete in the event that an adaptive engine solution is ultimately pursued, but Pratt, as the incumbent engine provider, stands to benefit from keeping the F-135 in place and improving it through its preferred engine core upgrade, ECU. Despite the Air Force's decision to shutter AETP as part of its fiscal 2024 budget request, Ulmer insisted that interest in AETP prevails in the halls of the Pentagon. I think they've made a decision informed by Block 4 and the requirements as they understand them today. I think there's elements within the Pentagon talking along the lines that there will be a Block 5 and a Block 6, and there will be other considerations in the future, he said. It's unclear how the fighter's international buyers might react to a decision to re-engine the aircraft with the pricey adaptive power plant, which Ulmer described as a trade that each customer will have to weigh depending on their planned requirements. Since the adaptive engine won't fit with the vertical takeoff and landing variant of the fighter, for example, Ulmer reasoned that the ECU will be available to those customers who don't want to field an adaptive engine. The Air Force was intrigued by the increased power and cooling abilities an adaptive engine would bring to its F-35 as over an upgrade to the existing F-135 engine. But the adaptive engine's inability to fit in an F-35B variant, flown by the Marine Corps, and questions over how suitable it would be for the Navy's F-35C version meant the Air Force was the only service seriously interested in an adaptive engine. But funding AETP, much less AETP and ECU simultaneously, will be expensive, a key reason why Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall said earlier this year that the service decided to discontinue AETP. Members of the House Armed Services Committee would seek to keep AETP going in FY24 with approximately $588 million in funding, according to draft text of the legislation previously posted by the committee, with House appropriators similarly backing continued funding but at the lower amount of $150 million. Ulmer said he was agnostic over whether an adaptive engine or an upgrade to the F-135 was the better way to go in the last year, and that the department would ultimately make the decision.